Tonight on CTV News at 6. It's hoping to process cobalt for the electric vehicle market.
There's only one other facility in the world outside of this one that can do what this one can do.
The federal government is putting more money into Electra battery materials. $1 billion lifeline.
The BDC will be offering favorable terms for 3-year loans.
The Liberal government is providing money to steel and aluminum sectors impacted by tariffs. And repurposing vacant schools.
Above and beyond the school, there's quite a bit of land that we developed 3 additional buildings behind the school.
3 former schools in Greater Sudbury are up for sale.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us on this Monday. A worker at Agnico Eagle's Upper Beaver project east of Kirkland Lake died on the job Friday. According to a social media post by the company, Agnico Eagle announced the fatal incident today, expressing its condolences and saying in part the team at Upper Beaver is currently cooperating with local authorities to determine the cause of the incident. We reached out to the Ministry of Labour and OPP, but no one has responded. Agnico Eagle is developing the Upper Beaver deposit in the township of Gautier near Kirkland Lake into a gold and copper mine. Electra Battery Materials has signed a deal with the federal government. It will unlock another $20 million to complete construction and commissioning of the battery-grade cobalt sulfate refinery south of Timmins Shores. We get more now from CTV's Eric Tashner.
Then turn it to a pulp.
Construction is progressing on the new $100 million cobalt sulfate refinery at Electra Battery Materials.
Raw feed is stored here.
In March 2025, negotiations between the company and the federal government began on a $20 million deal. Today, that deal was signed. The funding includes a combination of repayable and non-repayable contributions, bringing Ottawa's total investment to $35 million since 2020.
In the world in which we're heading, where we're going to be relying on lithium-ion batteries for various consumer products, but in particular for electric vehicles, we require this particular ingredient.
Eventually, we may have the capacity to take additional feedstock from local projects as they come online. For now, we'll be bringing material in from very select companies in DRC, so 80% of the world's cobalt comes from the Congo today.
In 2024, the U.S. Department of Defense contributed $20 million U.S. to kickstart refinery construction. But since then, American lawmakers have gotten cold feet on EVs. Meanwhile, senior levels of government are buying in. Last September, the province chipped in $17.5 million, and Rochefort says the federal government sees the value in the plant.
In general, throughout the world, electric vehicles is the trend, and so basically we anticipate that there's going to be substantial need.
About 94% of the current global supply of refined cobalt comes from China. Electra's goal is to stand out as one of the few producers with no ties to foreign entities.
There's only one other facility in the world outside of this one that can do what this one can do. So this will be the first of its kind here in North America and the only one producing cobalt sulfate here on the continent.
Electra aims to start producing the compound in early 2027. 60 new full-time jobs will be added, and the refinery will be able to produce 6,500 tons of cobalt sulfate annually, enough to support domestic production of up to 1 million electric vehicles per year.
Really, really nice to see it getting really close to fruition, and really looking forward to working closely with Electra.
A majority of production will be sold to LG Energy Solution under a legally binding contract. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Cobalt.
Ottawa is providing more money for steel and aluminum producers in the form of a $1 billion loan program to help businesses hurt by Donald Trump's tariffs. CTV's Michael Lecouture on how the loan will work and who will benefit.
For 14 months, steel, aluminum, and copper companies have been trying not to fold under the pressure of punishing tariffs from the U.S. It's been tough for companies like Bow Rock, which makes dump bodies for dump trucks.
90% of what we manufacture crosses the border. So for us, what's happening is really critical to our business.
And many are hoping for an end to the trade war, but even senior cabinet ministers can't say if or when that will be.
You don't know, I don't know. So this is not up to us to answer that question, because these decisions will be taken south of our border.
It's why the federal government is announcing a new $1 billion loan program for companies affected by the tariffs. The 3-year loans will be worth between $2 and $50 million, with the first year being interest-free.
Short term, our goal is to provide liquidities to companies in order for them to keep their workers.
Conservatives say loans aren't the answer.
We were reading this announcement today very concerned that there is no deal coming at all, and the Liberals have said nothing to the contrary.
Canada's Auditor General hasn't seen details of this loan program, but in 2024, Karen Hogan's report was critical of pandemic-era business loans, saying those programs lacked value for money. And she hopes that mistake isn't repeated.
So I would expect that any loan program would have a goal and an objective, and that the government would set itself out at the beginning, at the start, as they design this, to have a way to measure value for money and outcomes for Canadians.
The government says there will be a process and scope for approving the loans with additional follow-up. Minister Joly added the government is working on similar relief for the forestry and softwood lumber sectors. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Algoma Steel posting on X today, thanking the government for the loan, saying in part, access to timely financing tools to strengthen competitiveness is critical to maintaining a strong domestic supply chain and supporting Canadian jobs. Wikwemikong Tribal Police have charged 4 people in a major drug bust. Friday, police seized what they believe to be cocaine, fentanyl, and other street drugs valued at more than $126,000, along with $20,000 in cash. Officers also confiscated illegal weapons. Also over the weekend, tribal police responded to gunshots in the village of Wikwemikong. One man had to be airlifted to Sudbury's Health Sciences North after he was injured in the shooting. A 32-year-old man from the unceded territory was arrested at the scene and charged with attempted murder and other firearms-related charges. Police are asking anyone with surveillance footage to contact them. In light of these and other incidents in the community, Wikwemikong Council held a news conference live on social media this morning. Officials saying they'd held an emergency meeting over the weekend, and when it comes to drugs and violence, enough is enough.
The most important direction approved is this. People, community members, anyone involved in serious drug trafficking, weapons of violence, intimidation, exploitation, or harboring dealers will be removed from Wikwemikong and prevented from returning to our community unless they meet strict conditions.
The duration would be a minimum of 2 years and apply to repeat offenders. The chief adding first-time offenders could be prohibited from the community if the crime is serious enough in nature. He stressed this is not a punishment, especially for those who are battling addictions and mental health, saying the 2 years should be used to access treatment, find legitimate employment, and rebuild trust within the community. The Wikwemikong Tribal Police Chief added the police service is supporting council's decision. OPP in Kirkland Lake have charged 3 people with attempted murder after a weapons-related incident Saturday afternoon. Police were called to Wood Street after reports of a firearm. One person was taken to the local hospital before being flown to a trauma center with life-altering injuries. The suspects were all from Quebec and were apprehended with support from Sûreté du Québec. A 17-year-old girl was taken to hospital after a collision in the greater Sudbury community of Chelmsford yesterday. Police responded to the pedestrian vehicle crash around 11:30 last night on Highway 144. The teen was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police are asking anyone with information on the collision to contact them. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the weather. Not a bad day out there. How is the rest of the week shaping up? Here's CTV's Rick Wyman to tell us more.
Indifferent might be the appropriate word, Tony, at this time. Our systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada. We've got rain right now in Elliott Lake and, of course, Espanola, moving its way on 17 towards Greater Sudbury and easterly to North Bay. So again, mixed precipitation. We've got sleet in the forecast, as you'll see a little bit later on. 7-day forecast. We also have some rain in various aspects of Northeastern Ontario. We'll get to those details coming up next with our current temperatures and a lot more, including a very impressive pick of the day. Tony, back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. Making housing a priority. Still to come on CTV News at 6. Missinaba Cree First Nation has several irons in the fire. Before all of that happens, we're heading to the International Bridge in Sault Ste. Marie. This live webcam is from the International Bridge Administration. It's 10 degrees. We will return in just a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Several development projects in Sault Ste. Marie are in the works, with an area First Nation leading the charge. CTV's Corey Nordstrom tells us more about the Missinaba Cree First Nations Business Corporation and the projects it's undertaking.
After having sat mostly vacant for the last 6 years, the former Agiro call center building has a new owner.
We're moving our business corporation up there and the Indigenous Emergency Management organization up there too. So we're doing a training center there. We're in the midst of redesigning it, and we're very excited about what that's going to look like when it's done.
Housing has also been a major focus for Missinaba Cree First Nation. Its business corporation has recently begun a project to turn the former St. Hubert's Elementary School into 53 rental units. The first 15 units could be occupied this summer, with the remaining units expected to be complete next year. Also, the former Catalina Motel was reportedly purchased by the corporation at the end of last year for roughly $1.8 million. After demolition, a transitional housing project will commence.
I'm not sure how many we have total, but I think we're looking at about 33. We're looking at creating a space for our community members that are not in the best housing situation.
The First Nation was only declared a reserve in 2018, with members now scattered across the province, mostly residing in the Sioux and Toronto. These two housing builds reflect a mandate that has led Missinaba to develop affordable units in those two cities, as well as Belleville, Thunder Bay, and potentially Sudbury.
Because our community members have been away from reserve so long, we want to make sure that they have access to housing and affordable housing in the places they've decided to settle that aren't in Missinaba.
While housing where community members are is the current goal, Missinaba leadership say they ultimately want to bring members back to their reserve. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
With a need for more housing in Greater Sudbury, vacant schools could be the answer. We get more from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
Yes. Peter No points out which part of this new housing development in New Sudbury was once a former school.
There's lots of land here, which is what we were looking for. Above and beyond the school, there's quite a bit of land that we developed 3 additional buildings behind the school. And the location was fantastic for development.
Stonebrook Suites is a 74-unit housing development. 20 of those units were once a part of the St. Bernadette Catholic Elementary School, shuttered in 2015. No says there wasn't much difficulty retrofitting the school. They even refurbished the old gym and are still adding more housing to the property. Meanwhile, 3 vacant school properties in the valley are up for sale on the GovDeals auction website. All are former school properties owned by Conseil Scolaire Catholique Nouvelon. All could potentially be used for housing. According to Sudbury's housing supply strategy, 112 purpose-built rental units are needed each year for the next 30 years. But the city stopped short of buying property itself and instead updated its zoning bylaw, allowing institutional properties be used for residential use.
Incentives that we have in place apply to a broad geography, so they're not limited strictly to the adaptive reuse of school sites, but allow for a broad range of adaptive reuse or for new development as well on existing vacant sites across the city.
No says there are still a few units left at Stonebrook Suites, and he's developing other housing sites elsewhere.
We're developing more in Chelmsford presently right now. We also have some land in the South End that we're proposing to do some development in the near future.
Any schools?
I've went to look at a few schools, but a few of them were a little bit run down.
No says he's not opposed to buying and developing a vacant school again, adding it just must be the right opportunity. Angela Gamble, CTV News, Sudbury.
Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau is seeking re-election. Boileau announced she is running again for the mayor's seat. Boileau says she's running again because the job isn't finished. As CTV's Lydia Chubak tells us, Boileau is not the only Northern mayor seeking re-election.
Over the past 4 years, Mayor Michelle Boileau says Timmins has advanced major priorities in infrastructure, housing, economic development, and community planning. She says her job isn't done yet.
And so I would hate to lose that momentum that we've built and to take a step back and to lose sight of some of those important initiatives that we've been driving forward.
Boileau says it's time to keep building a city that is stronger, more connected, and ready for what's next. The mayor did not discuss homelessness during her announcement, but told CTV News since 2023, it's risen by over 130%.
We should be able to see some positive results in the coming years. But quite frankly, without adequate housing, and we won't be able to get that done without the support of other orders of government.
Rob Knox and Lawrence Martin have also announced they will be running against Boileau. CTV News polled other large northern city mayors, and at the time of this broadcast, only the mayor of Sault Ste. Marie says he will be seeking re-election. He says his main priority is focusing on the local economy.
The difficult economic situation, which stems from the tariffs and also stems from Algoma's transition to electric arc steelmaking, is the main issue in the community and the one that needs the greatest attention in order for it to be, there to be continued opportunities here in town for people who want to stay in town. And so I plan to focus strongly on the economic issues, and that's why the Port of Sault Ste. Marie is the thing I would like to see through over the course of the next term so that we can offer an economic incentive, essentially, to companies that need to be close to the water and need to be able to ship their goods.
The municipal election is on Monday, October 26th. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Back now for a check on your current conditions. Once again, here's Rick.
Yes, Tony, the ever-changing current conditions, never the same 24 hours later or compared to Friday. This is what we've got, our forecast radar. We've got some rain in the forecast, of course, and we'll also have some flurries over the course of the next couple of days. But first, our current temperatures. Let's begin where we always do. Moosonee, cloud cover in 7. Cochrane, light rain at 6. 9 in Timmins with rain. Kapuskasing, cloud cover at 9. Chapleau, mainly cloudy at 7. Wawa, some sun, some cloud at 8. Sault Ste. Marie, overcast conditions as well. And in Parry Sound, some sun, some cloud at 20. Not a bad night there. In North Bay, 18, some sun and cloud. More of the same in Temiskaming Shores at 17. It's wet in Kirkland Lake at 14. Moving on over to Greater Sudbury, no rain as yet. Cloudy skies 17. Espanola rain 16. 16 Elliott Lake and 12 in Gore Bay, sun and cloud. Yes, we do have the answers to your questions. The 7-day forecast, Tony, is next.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. 4 Canadians are among the people on board. Next on CTV News at 6, 3 people have died on a cruise ship because of a rodent-borne virus. And Prime Minister Carney pulls Canada closer to Europe in a recent trip. Three people are dead and several others are ill on a cruise ship off the coast of South Africa. 4 Canadians are among the nearly 150 passengers and crew on the lockdown vessel. CTV's John Venevali-Rao has the details.
Deck 4 is where the lobby is.
In a video posted at the start of the voyage, an American travel blogger took his followers on a tour of the cruise ship, now stuck, unable to dock and to unload passengers amid a suspected hantavirus outbreak.
And what's happening right now is very real for all of us here.
In a new tearful video, the blogger talks about the fears on board after 3 passengers died.
There's a lot of uncertainty, And that's the hardest part.
Among the 149 on the ship are 4 Canadians, currently anchored off the coast of the capital of Cabo Verde, where officials won't allow the cruise ship to dock to, quote, protect public health.
It's one of those diseases that at the moment there's no specific treatment to cure the disease after someone becomes infected, and there isn't also a vaccine available to prevent people from getting infected.
The ship was on a cruise from Argentina and stopping at remote islands in the South Atlantic. 3 weeks ago, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger died, and after leaving the ship, so did his wife. Then a British man evacuated to this hospital in South Africa tested positive for hantavirus. And a third German passenger died on Saturday. 2 crew members still on board also have acute respiratory symptoms and will be removed for medical care. Hantaviruses are rare, mainly transmitted through contact with rodents or their droppings. It's what killed the wife of actor Gene Hackman last year. Symptoms can take weeks to appear, and human-to-human transmission is not common.
So it's very rare for hantaviruses. In fact, the only hantaviruses that are known to cause human-to-human transmission originate from South America, and in particular areas like Argentina.
In a statement, a WHO official stressed the risk to the wider public remains low. There is no need for panic or travel restrictions.
Meanwhile, experts say there are only on average about 4 to 5 cases of hantavirus in Canada each year, typically linked to rodent exposures in rural parts of the western provinces. John Benavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
To the Middle East, where the U.S. military says it has sunk 6 Iranian boats in the latest test of a fragile ceasefire. The U.S. claims the small boats were targeting civilian vessels. It came after the U.S. military said 2 American-flagged merchant ships successfully moved through the Strait of Hormuz after it launched a new initiative to restore traffic. Earlier today, reports out of Iran said 2 missiles hit a U.S. warship, but U.S. Central Command said no American Navy ships were struck. Prime Minister Mark Carney has wrapped up a quick trip overseas. He spent today holding a series of meetings in Armenia with key European allies.
For the very first time, we have invited a non-European guest, the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
This marks the first time that a Canadian Prime Minister has spoken at this summit, featuring EU countries and others, including Turkey and Ukraine. In his opening remarks, Carney said that countries have to face the current reality and not the world they would prefer to be operating in.
The world is undergoing a rupture across several dimensions: in technology, in energy, in commerce, and geopolitics. Integration is being used as a weapon by some, and the rules are not constraining the hegemons. Now, we have to actively take on the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. We know nostalgia is not a strategy, but we don't think that we're destined to submit to a more transactional, insular, and brutal world.
A busy agenda for the Prime Minister as he sat down with top European leaders. It comes one day after he was extended an invitation to speak to the European Parliament later this year. The trip is all part of the Prime Minister's goal to deepen ties with allies and move away from the United States and the Trump administration.
A lot's happened in the last 12 months, and some of it we saw coming, but more of it has occurred. And the importance of alliances with reliable partners, deepening those alliances has become ever more so. There is a series of linkages here from security through to economics that are being reinforced. We're working in real time.
The Prime Minister also met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Today, Carney announced $270 million to help Ukraine buy more weapons to fight off the Russian invasion. The funding is actually part of a previous commitment of more than $2 billion. This latest contribution brings Canada's total financial support for the country to almost $26 billion. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
It's kind of like truth or consequences. You're going to get the truth with the weather, and we'll have to deal with the consequences over the course, Tony, of the next couple of days. Forecast radar, courtesy of Environment Canada. There you can see that band of precipitation affecting the northeast area right now. Moving system, low pressure with rain, and of course later on in the week we're going to get a combination of flurries and showers, as you can see, over the course of, well, between now and Sunday leading up to Mother's Day. We will get the odd sunny break in terms of some sun sunshine for at least a day or two. Greater Sudbury showers for tonight. Sault Ste. Marie showers, flurries. Timmins, more of the same, showers, flurries. Temiskaming Shores showers, and North Bay showers as well. Showers, drizzle, Moosonee, Caphurst, chance of showers, chance of sleet in Wawa, Gore Bay, chance of showers, more of the same in Parry Sound. Sudbury, Nickel Belt, chance of sleet tomorrow at 40%, 7 degrees your high. Here is the sunshine I promised. Wednesday at 9, chance of sleet, 3 consecutive days, all days at 10, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, here we go, Mother's Day, and why not? Sun and cloud, high of 12, still below normal for this time of the year. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of flurries, 60% tomorrow. Good bet there at 6. 7 with the sun on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you've got the chance of sleet, 8 and 9 degrees, your temperatures. Sunday, some sun and cloud, and 11, still 4 degrees short of the normal for the first full week of May. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Yikes. You've got the chance of sleet for the entire week, 60% starting off tomorrow, only 4 your daytime high, then 30% Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, even on Mother's Day. And your temperatures, well, 6, 7, 8. Evening temps, kind of cool. 0, -1, +1 as well in Timmins, Cochrane, and Kapuskasing. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, chance of showers tomorrow at 40%, 10 degrees your high, 12 on Wednesday, sun and cloud. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, chance of sleet all 3 days at 30%, 10, 8, and 9 your temps. And Sunday, just in time for Mom, we've got sun and cloud and at 10 degrees. Again, your evening temperatures -3, -2, and only +1. That furnace will have to be on at night for those who like a little bit of heat. North Bay, West Nipissing, chance of showers tomorrow, 11. Another 11-degree day on Wednesday, sun and cloud. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 30% chance of sleet. Your temperatures 8 and 9. And Sunday, here we go, sun and cloud for Mother's Day at 11. Let's roll that pick of the day. Talk about the power of the water. Tom, thank you so much for this one. This is a gorge just off Highway 17, Montreal River Harbor, and the power of the water recently. This was taken a great pick, and I appreciate that. That is Mother Nature at its, well, its best in some ways, not so great in others. Special World War II anniversary with deep ties to North Bay. Madison Merrier will have that story coming up after the break.
Energy drinks have been around for decades, but they've recently become more popular, especially with teenagers. Many of the drinks taste like candy, and they can contain a jolt of caffeine, which could do more harm than good. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Energy drinks are colorful, sweet, and hugely popular with young people. Now an important warning for parents. A new Consumer Reports investigation finds what's inside those drinks may be more than you're bargaining for. Energy drinks are everywhere these days. Many of them look like sports hydration drinks and taste like candy.
They have flavors like Jolly Rancher flavor and sour gummy worms. It's so easy to just pop open a cold can and chug it.
But inside that can is often a jolt of caffeine that can be far from harmless. Researchers found many drinks contain 2 to 3 times the daily caffeine limit recommended for teens, which is 100 milligrams. Too much caffeine has been linked to insomnia, anxiety, jitters, and heart-related symptoms, and teens may be especially vulnerable. To find out exactly what's in these drinks, Consumer Reports tested 23 popular energy drinks and shots.
We wanted to see how much caffeine is actually in the product.
The results, most drinks came close to or matched their labels, but some had up to 16% more caffeine than advertised. The American Beverage Association, an industry trade group, says parents should be in the driver's seat when it comes to what their children have for beverages. So what can parents do? Check labels, track total caffeine from all sources, and pay attention to sleep, because using caffeine to fight fatigue can create a cycle that's hard to break. The bottom line, when it comes to energy drinks and teens, even one can be too much. Pat Foran, CTV News.
An outdoor eatery in Cambridge has become the victim of a costly ice cream heist. Over the weekend, LA Frank says one or more thieves broke into its food stand and made off with dozens of large ice cream tubs. CTV's Spencer Turcotte tells us more.
This bread tray was propped up against this door here where my freezer is, and this is where the pop and the ice cream and the oil was taken out of here.
A big hit for a small Cambridge business, not the start to a season that LA Frank's owner Russ Thomas was hoping for.
This is our 34th summer in business. We sell hot dogs, ice cream. We make the best milkshakes in town. We use Shaw's ice cream out of the Port Stanley area.
Ice cream so good it seems criminals scooped up much of their inventory.
They have got a grinder of sort, obviously battery driven, and they have cut through there to gain access. My heart just went all the way down, and I knew I didn't even have to look inside. I knew what was going on.
Thomas estimates between 25 to 30 tubs of ice cream were taken.
We have great ice cream. I understand why they stole it, but hey.
But he doesn't understand what they'll do with that much of it.
So that is an 11.4 liter tub of ice cream. They may have problems storing that much ice cream. I'm not sure what they're doing, maybe reselling. I don't know.
It's a financial blow to the family-owned food joint.
We're talking a couple $1,000s. And, you know, unfortunately, when a small business has to eat that kind of cost, you know, it affects everybody.
LA Frank's operates out of a city-owned building where surveillance cameras are installed. Both the city and police are working to determine whether they captured the crime, although the waiting game is hard.
I take it personally, and so does my wife. And it hurts. It sucks.
Despite the setback, they are working to restock the freezers and are open for business, adding it's going to take a lot more than this to make them melt under pressure. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Cambridge.
Exciting news for Mattawa. The Canadian Ecology Centre is reopening after an 11-month hiatus. The centre closed after the devastating storm moved through Samuel de Champlain Provincial Park last June. Its founder says the not-for-profit has had no money coming in, which has left it with a shortfall. As a result, he tells CTV News he's looking forward to welcoming people back, adding the park looks different, and that will play a role in the curriculum.
And so now when you go into the park, you're going to see parts of the park landscape. They've taken away all the trees. In some places, they've taken away all the stumps. It's very, very stark. And what was a dense forest with enormous red and white pine trees is now gone.
Steer says the centre is still working to make up a $300,000 shortfall. The Canadian Ecology Centre will reopen May 8th. Students from the Rainbow District School Board took over Laurentian University's Fraser Auditorium today for the annual Eco Summit. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Warm, it felt like a good day to be setting off for the Arctic.
Keynote speaker, professional explorer, and national best-selling author Adam Schultz shared about his latest adventure, a 3,400-kilometer solo journey from Lake Erie to the Arctic.
It seemed like I was among kindred spirits. They were extremely enthusiastic. We had a whole forest of hands go up there. But I was hoping that if I can inspire them to care a little bit more about going out into the wild, then you're already planting the seed for environmental stewardship.
The annual event put on by the Rainbow District School Board's Environmental Education Committee celebrated the theme of our land, our forests, our life.
We're hoping that all of our students become inspired and empowered to take all of their learnings to go back to their school communities and implement some positive change.
Greenhouse work, we have a learning team.
Students got to hear what other schools in the board are already doing, as well as participate in workshops from yoga to invertebrate identification and food forests to discovering the story of Junction Creek.
Nature's really cool and it can be more interesting than you would think.
Like there's a lot to explore that we also haven't seen yet. And I think people should try to explore more of it.
This is the third year for the Eco Summit, and officials say plans are already underway for next year. Over 350 students from grades 6 to 12 took part in today's event. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
The North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit is warning that with the warmer weather, tick season has started. The health unit is starting the conversation about ticks after a record number of Lyme disease cases last year, 71% which were reported were caused by tick bites. Lyme disease can take anywhere from 3 to 30 days to show symptoms, including the bullseye-shaped rash, fever, chills, fatigue, and nausea. The health unit says it's important to check yourself, children, and pets for ticks if you've been outdoors, and to remove ticks right away. They're advancing to the next round of the NHL playoffs. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. The Montreal Canadiens squeak out a win in Game 7 and take the series against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Clothing consideration provided by
Fashion Fair. Beautiful clothing for today's woman, where quality makes the difference.
Today is a National Day of Remembrance in the Netherlands, and Canadians took part in the ceremony at the Algonquin Regiment in North Bay. CTV's Madison Merrier reports.
Empty jars with the Netherlands flag soon came to life with tulips as the bell rang.
The Algonquin Regiment had a very vital role to play in liberating the town of Welberg in World War II. And a year ago, the bell was gifted to us, and to ring every 4th of May and also the first Sunday in November in celebration of our friendship, our continued heritage, that history of liberation.
The bell was one of 2 that was gifted to Canada to ring in unison with the bell in Welberg, Netherlands, honoring all who passed away in World War II and during the Battle of Welberg.
I think it shows the ties that we have, both based on our history together, a history forged in war in World War II, but it's also a history that endures into today and into the future.
Sandra O'Grady's father was one of the Canadian soldiers who was taken as a prisoner of war and says the bell will serve as a reminder of the past to ensure Canada always remembers.
I don't have the words. I think it's so important for survivors like myself and everybody else to remember.
As part of the Dutch tradition, all who attended were invited to ring the bell and place a flower to show respect for the past and for the memory of the lives forever changed. Madison Merrier, CTV News, North Bay.
And Army reservists from the 33 Canadian Brigade Group will be training in Sudbury this month. Soldiers from across Ontario will be seen along local roadways in full uniform and gear, including unloaded weapons. Residents are asked to take extra caution around the soldiers and military vehicles if you come across them on the roads. Today, 3 young heroes in Ottawa were recognized not for what they did in school, but for their response in a crisis after calling for help when it mattered most. CTV's Josh Morano has more.
When 11-year-old Kaylee Nathu's grandfather fell and hit his head, she knew she needed to act fast and be brave.
When you're calling 911, don't hesitate. You just have to do it.
On the other line, a dispatcher who helped Nathu stay calm and asked questions before help arrived.
They're explaining to me what to do and to get a cloth to put on my grandpa's head to put on the cut.
She was calm, cool, and collected, like a lot of people are not in that kind of situation. But she followed the directions very well.
A scary situation for Nathu until first responders arrived, but her parents say they're proud their daughter knew who to call.
She was able to call 911 and she knew she needed to help. So we're so proud of her that she was able to do that.
That bravery being recognized by the city at the Children's 911 Achievement Awards, honoring Nathu, 12-year-old Chrisley Dana Julessin, and 11-year-old Reem Alamad Alassan for their quick thinking during an emergency.
I was pretty scared and nervous, but I decided to stay calm.
Julessin called after her cousin fainted while at a birthday party.
They were telling me like instructions and telling me like what to do, and then I was following and listening closely so I could actually save her life.
And Alamad Alassan dialed 911 after she noticed her 5-year-old sister having trouble breathing.
My sister has an asthma.
Staying on the phone with paramedics, translating for her mother.
My English has improved and like I know what to say all the time. I'm gonna like answer all the questions so easily.
The award recognizes youth ages 12 and under who effectively used 911 in a crisis.
They were also not only able to call 911, but to tell us
where they are, what is going on, answer our dispatchers' questions.
Nathu hopes her bravery will help other kids if they need to call 911 in an emergency.
If you don't call, maybe they can't get the help that they need or that you need, and you need to call so you can get the right help.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
Ontario Mine Rescue's district competitions will get underway this week. They're going to be held in 5 different locations with 8 districts competing. First response skills will be put to the test. Skills like firefighting, collapse, extrication, and first aid. It also deals with low visibility environments while wearing breathing apparatuses. Officials say these types of scenarios get them ready for the underground environment.
We try to make them as realistic as possible. We're going to have our mine rescue officers throughout the next, week, probably even starting this weekend, setting up arenas to look, mimic an underground mine as much as we possibly can.
Ontario Mine Rescue competitions start Wednesday. The provincial competition is in Sudbury in June. Discovery Routes in North Bay is kicking off the 2026 Recycled Bikes program. While the program started off just collecting bikes, officials are now accepting any gently used outdoor gear, including hiking, poles, snowshoes, and cross-country skis. Donation collections will run on Wednesday from May 6th to June 24th at Laurentian Lower Lodge from 3 p.m. to 6. To hockey, where the Montreal Canadiens have advanced to the next round of the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs, the only Canadian team left standing.
It's 9-3 Tampa Bay, but Montreal threatening here, scores on a deflection, and Montreal has struck first.
Montreal with a 2-1 win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Montreal had only 9 shots in the game, but came away with the victory. Tens of thousands of fans poured into the streets of the city last night to celebrate. The team now faces the Buffalo Sabres starting Wednesday.
And the Raptors, after taking Game 6 at home, they fall in Game 7 to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
A hard loss last night for Toronto. The Raptors led in the first half of the game. The wheels fell off in the third quarter, and Toronto couldn't recover, falling 114 to 102, ending their playoff run in the NBA. It's a day fans of a certain sci-fi franchise look forward to all year long. David Daniel has our May the 4th Hollywood report.
Star Wars fans know May the 4th is special, and so does Prop Store, which is offering collectibles from the franchise in 2 current auctions. This Stormtrooper helmet from 2019's The Rise of Skywalker is part of the online entertainment memorabilia auction, as is this Resistance bomb from 2017's The Last Jedi. The collectible posters auction includes this Empire Strikes Back quad poster from the UK and this rare Russian 3-panel poster for the franchise. Info on both auctions at propstoreauction.com, and may the 4th be with you.
There's nobody smarter.
Just because the eyes are so dull doesn't mean that there's not a machinery of wheels clicking away.
There's nobody funnier.
Martin Short gets the documentary treatment in Marty, Life is Short. The film digs deep into archival footage, charting the Emmy and Tony-winning comedian's triumphs and tragedies. Marty, Life is Short debuts May 12th on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Sudbury's Magna Mining has been given conditional approval to become listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. CEO Jason Jessup said in a news release today, listing on the TSX would provide greater visibility and access to a wider range of potential investors. Final approval is still subject to the company fulfilling several TSX requirements, including receipt of all required documentation by July 29th. This year. It's an unexpected offer. A company that sells video games is looking to get into a different kind of retail business. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez brings us the details.
Video game retailer GameStop wants to buy eBay. It made a cash and stock offer of about $55.5 billion US for the e-commerce platform. GameStop has been trying to find new revenue streams since consumers have turned away from brick stores to buy games online. GameStop is a U.S. $11 billion company. eBay is a U.S. $48 billion company. It says it has received the offer and its board will review it. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.46. West Texas Intermediate up over $4 to 106.42. Western Canadian Select is down over $3 to 78.67. And the TSX lost 252 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $93.04, closing the day at $45.21.42 US an ounce. Silver down $2.52 to end the day at $72.83. Copper moved forward 2 cents to $5.88, and nickel up a penny, ending the day at $8.73 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Tuesday weather.
Well, if it's not the showers, it might be the flurries that might have you looking at weather quite differently this week. Let's begin in Greater Sudbury. We've got the chance of showers tomorrow at 8. Timmins, 4 degrees, chance of sleet at 60%, a pretty good bet there. 60% chance of flurries in the Sioux as well, with a temperature of 6. North Bay, 11 chance of showers. Parry Sound, chance of showers, and more of the same in Temiskaming Shores. Chance of showers. We've got sleet in the forecast for Timmins and area as well. So kind of a mixed bag of weather, including some sunshine as well. Tony?
Thanks for that, Rick. And finally, Colombian singer Shakira performed at Rio's Copacabana Beach during a stop on her world tour. She delivered her biggest hits in front of what local officials said was an estimated 2 million people. The free concert is part of an initiative aimed at boosting tourism during the Brazilian city's shoulder season. Last year, a large crowd attended a free Lady Gaga concert at the same iconic beach. And folks, that's CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. Thanks for watching. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Amanda Hicks. Good night.